Thank you, Honorable Filipe. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise to contribute to the motion, Mr. Speaker, sir. The Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Leader of Opposition, Members of Parliament, fellow Fijians, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you for the opportunity to address this August House and elaborate more on the budget allocation for the Ministry of Public Works, Met Services and Transport. I also acknowledge the Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Biman Prasad and his team, and the Ministry of Finance for the hard work undertaken for the budget outcome for 23 and 24, and for producing the best budget ever. At the outset, I wanted to say the Fiji First government did not do justice to the ministry I'm in charge of and almost closed it down, not providing the necessary support needed by the ministry to better support our rural and maritime islands. I wish to say to the opposition that this ministry is important because it has the key sectors of the nation: infrastructure, roads, water, etc. It is only through this government that we will improve and better develop these sectors to lessen the load on our urban infrastructure. It is only through the coalition government that we will better the services in the rural and maritime areas. As announced by the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the public utilities, mass services sectors are very important in an economy and a small island developing state like ours. Infrastructure such as roads, bridges, ports, jetties are important in building a sustainable and resilient future. The ministry is now allocated a significant budget of more than 98 million with the inclusion of the transport sector. This is significant as we revive the work of the Public Works Department, strengthen our services through Water Authority of Fiji, and enhance our connectivity in both land and maritime transport. So the public utility sector, infrastructure sector consists mainly of public works, water, energy and roads in Fiji, with a budget increase of more than 100% from the 2022-23 financial year. This is to cater mainly for development and enhancement of Fiji's infrastructure in the rural and maritime areas. In the Department of Energy, Fiji has embarked on 3 ambitious targets related to the energy sector, which is to achieve 100% electrification rate by 2026, increase our renewable energy mix for electricity generation to 100% by 2036, and to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2050. The government fully fathoms the important role energy plays towards economic and social development, and therefore remains steadfast in achieving this target. Mr. Speaker, this financial year is an increase of 12 to 14 million in the energy budget, mainly focuses on the implementation, specifically increase to cater for Kandavu Coral Hydro and grid extension projects. The ministry has been working closely with the Global Green Growth Institute, or GGI, and other institutions such as COICA and JICA to secure further funding. This is to further complement the budgetary allocation for the energy sector. This is an area totally neglected by the Fiji First government despite the many opportunities, and a result of total suppression of independence of thought in the civil service during the 60-year rule, which was basically a two-man government. Where are they anyway? Mr. Speaker, sir, the ministry will continue to work in partnership with other ministries, departments, communities and stakeholders to lift the standards of infrastructure in the rural and maritime areas. The ministry cannot overemphasize the need to enhance our rural and maritime infrastructure to better our services. A notable increase in the budget includes the maintenance and refurbishment of public buildings, including IT software and hardware, in order to improve monitoring and evaluation frameworks. Mr. Speaker, as you are aware, the ministry is also currently working on a revised national building code that will standardize the state of our buildings and better align towards safety, particularly for natural disasters. In addition to this work, and due to the disbanding of the construction implementation unit, the ministry budget is strengthened with increased manpower to cater for the growing demands of the work, particularly the upgrading of quarters and office buildings in the 3 divisions. The target is to expand the rural economy. On the construction implementation unit, let me share what one of the audit reports stated. To properly assess and understand the nature and environment in which the CIU operate, we inquired whether there is a documented mandate or intent of the unit which could be used as a reference point during audit. In addition, we inquired whether the unit was required to process all government agencies' construction projects. However, we were not able to substantiate any documented mandate or intent of the unit, except in the Ministry of Economy strategic plan that validates the existence of the CIU. Similarly, we are not able to substantiate any documented requirement that obliges the unit to process all government agencies and construction projects. Clearly, this shows that the CIU was created by Mr. Syed Kayum for control purposes, i.e. in disbanding the PWD, and to control the award of contracts, and we know to who. Of course, that created overnight millionaires. Mr. Speaker, sir, who is the minister? I also like to share what are the water issues. This is one of the challenging issues we face today. And the services of water and wastewater in its current status requires the government to address the issues with urgency. Failed water services is a legacy of the Fiji First government despite 16 years of government. They did not solve the issue. The government in the 23-24 budget is committed to achieve a 24/7 provision of water and wastewater services, and the Water Authority of Fiji has been allocated a total budget of 250.8 million, 118 million for operational expenditure, and 132.7 million for capital expenditure. This budgeted allocation is targeted towards the upgrading of WEF's existing water and wastewater infrastructures to improve service sustainability through an efficient and safe, robust water supply system. A total of 53.8 million is allocated for the water program. This includes water sources and distribution projects that covers the construction and installation of 3 packaged water treatment plants. Mr. Speaker, sir, funds are also allocated for water treatment plants in Nabawalu and other centers. The government will continue its efforts to continue connecting villages and communities living outside the central business district. The water program allocation also includes feasibility study of new potential water sources in various locations and construction of new and upgrading old reservoirs in areas such as Singatoka, Tabua, Malaganegere, and Levuka, pipeline works in Sabondondro, maintenance, etc., maintenance and upgrading of pipelines from Sawani to Dolisuva, and also a dedicated 11-kilometer Lokia pipeline in the Central Division, in addition to others. Mr. Speaker, sir, water loss through aging pipe network is a key issue for Water Authority. The government has therefore allocated 5.8 million to specifically address leakages on non-revenue water. Working with ADB through its technical assistance program, a non-revenue water specialist has been engaged to develop a performance-based contract for non-revenue water reduction within the Suva, Nosuri, and Nandilo Toka water supply systems. Further, 7.5 million is allocated for the implementation of integrated meter management to improve meter reading accuracy. The wastewater program has an allocation of 6.4 million to increase system performance by improving wastewater operations of WEF's wastewater network and pump stations. In addition, WEF has allocated 4.9 million towards developing and implement a robust asset management program, which has been the subject of past audit reports. So we can also achieve a lot by using the latest and proven technology, which is why WEF is also engaging on a digital transformation journey, and this program has been allocated 4.6 million. There is also the Suva automation strategy, which will be implemented, whereby WEF plans to automate one of its daily operations, which sometimes causes water supply disruptions in the Suva Nosuri corridor. Of course, as mentioned by the opposition, we also have the Rewa River Water Supply Scheme project, which is currently underway and due to come online towards July, October. And of course, as a responsible government, we are committed to seeing this project through and completed on time. Mr. Speaker, sir, the government has taken progressive steps to ensure that the citizens of Fiji do not face the same situation again, and we continue with our bold water plans, especially after the development of the Water Sector Strategy 2050 plan, which ensures participation of all stakeholders, and that we have clear plans and strategies in front of us as we move forward. Transportation is the backbone of any thriving economy. It enables the efficient movement of people and goods, facilitates trade and commerce. In this regard, so I address the Fiji Roads Authority. On roads and highways from the arteries of a nation, enabling the seamless movement of people, it is a critical organization. It has been allocated a budget of more than 300 million to cater for maintaining, planning and delivering Fiji's road network. With a new board in place, we look forward to a more cost-effective and manageable services provided by FRA. The key goals of the FRA strategy in the implementation of its 2023-24 budget is to efficiently and sustainably provide a national road network infrastructure that is affordable, safe, and environment-friendly. The government recognizes the vital importance of a well-developed and efficient road network, just as the last government. The new FRA board has been working closely with the ministry in planning the establishment of the Public Works Department and its associated works in the rural and maritime areas. The two will complement each other. Unlike under Fiji First, where Fiji Roads had divided the roads into Fiji in FRA and non-FRA roads, resulting in most of our rural communities, villages, institutions such as schools and public buildings, farms, and others being marginalized and discriminated against as far as road maintenance was concerned. Focus will be centered also on the future maintenance contracts and other procurement modalities that will enable rural and local communities or contractors to successfully acquire tender awards in their localities. Fiji is faced with a deteriorating road safety situation, and it is a critical challenge. One of the key efforts has been to acquire physical and financial resources to restore the conditions, despite the Fiji First government expanding the budget at the point of 6 months in December 2022. This has been a challenge and a direct result of vote buying by Fiji First. The FRA is currently undertaking its task to develop its strategic plans for the next 5 to 10 years. Unfortunately, there was no strategic plan within FRA. There have been also issues regarding implementation of projects and monitoring and evaluation. As such, FRA has engaged the Auditor General's Office to conduct an independent financial audit in the management of its finances. A technical audit will also be conducted on the procurement and management of certain contracts that has been ongoing and awarded in the recent past. This will also be part of the restructure program. Some in the opposition may be asking, why are you doing this? And I refer to past audit reports, Mr. Speaker. So in one of the audit reports, in terms of the road construction in Nandi from the airport, let me read it out. It stated that urban design and features and landscaping were important components of the works. The tender was awarded to the contractor for a sum of 65.9 million. The contract agreement in the bill of quantities including 5.8 million for landscaping and design. It was noted that the authority paid an additional 623,000 for its beautification project to other contractors without calling for tender. The authority purchased bougainville plants which were not initially planned to be part of the landscaping. we maintain, this is Dr. General, that the tenders were not called for NESRAP and to beautification projects, and obtaining retrospective approval does not validate the non-compliance. So this is just one of the issues which was in the auditor report, but which we are also going through at the moment. For that, the original contract sum was 65 million, and the final sum ended up to 116 million, a difference of 50.9 million. So this is some of the challenges I would like to wanted to share today. In the current Queen Elizabeth Drive project, again, original contract sum 61.9 million. There have been claims of various variations, and we are looking at a final sum of 73 million. But the board is currently scrutinizing all variations to date, and of course looking back and conducting its own, as I mentioned, technical and financial audit. The other issue or point raised was on the ADB project. This was also raised in Parliament. The authority had prepared a contract agreement regarding the Suwa-Tirol roads upgrading, but ADB had stated a misprocurement as some amendments were made to the original clauses. Without approval, consequently, ADB terminated the funding, which resulted in the authority bearing the responsibility to meeting the total cost, totaling 30.4 million. Again, missed opportunity cost, and just a few of the issues that we will need to look into. On the Foster Road project, Wallow Bay, currently contracted some 31 million. We're looking to an additional 3 million at the moment to reach 34 million. So those issues, Mr. Speaker, sir, are some of the challenges faced within the ministry as we try to move forward. Let me address some of the issues raised by the opposition. I note my friend Honorable Fayaz Square had mentioned that the people are plagued by fear. So I'm not sure what they state when they state that we are plagued by fear. And one of the terms used was ethno-nationalism. Again, as mentioned by Honorable Tigundondo, Minister of Home Affairs. Minister of Home Affairs. Minister of Home Affairs. This is an issue that we are emphasizing to the opposition to be careful in how we move forward and to exercise caution. So I also note Honorable Pravin Abal mentioning that the budget is Pravin Bal, first year economic student. It's a first year economic student budget. Please read the title here. Professor Biman Prasad. Let me remind you, please give respect where it's due. And I'd like to thank Honorable Naisa Tunadaba for sharing issues regarding LTA, which is critical as we move forward. On traffic congestion, the original plans were to construct 2-lane highways from Nosori right up to the end of Otuanga Road. But unfortunately, some of these were diverted to the Queen Elizabeth Drive. And again, it is wrong priority. Because how many vehicles travel on Queen Elizabeth Drive compared to the Suva-Nosori corridor? There's also been condemnation of PWD as duplicating. Again, as I mentioned, PWD will complement FRA, and we will be looking at roads which are not currently covered. So let me end by also responding to Honorable Ketan Lau. He had, I know that we had engaged in a friendly discussion this morning to resolve, but in terms of the 2000 Constitution, let me remind you that 2013 Constitution, that it followed the process. It followed a process which was different from the 1997 Constitution. So if you look back, if you read back, you will understand which process is more valid. And the 1997 Constitution process is more valid, and we need to work together to follow that process again. And which is very, very critical. And you will agree that we need to reform the electoral system. We need to reform the electoral system. Because when you look at the number of votes, nearly 80% of the votes is taken out by Mr. Panimarama and Mr. Sayat Kayu. So only 20% is sitting here. Only 20% of the votes. So your argument that you represent the number of votes they are saying is invalid. It doesn't hold any water. Yeah, it doesn't hold any water. So it's in your interest that we engage in bipartisanship to review that. So yeah, to review that, and then you will have a better chance to beat us in the next election. At the moment, there's zero chance. Zero chance. So, Honorable Jose Nindamu, thank you for your comments. He acknowledges the Turani Koro, Turani Abusa allowances that we are increasing. In the last parliament, we brought the motion in here for 5 times, and it was rejected. So, let me just share with you that the issue, and I'm thankful that you wanted another increase, but unfortunately, due to the huge debt, we cannot do that, and we will need to wait until the economy recovers. With those words, I support the budget.
Thank you, Honorable Filipe Tuisawau, for your contribution.